Shalom. The title of this lesson is Wandering Desires Will Cause You to Backstep. Wandering Desires Will Cause You to Backstep. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash, double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit, and a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit. Lord willing, as a whole, those that are scattered four corners of the earth, teaching His word and believing in His word. Lord willing, that y'all all continue in sound doctrine in the same spirit. And shalom to the Aquab that sits at His faith and His truth. Lord willing, that you continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving, excellent, virtuous wife. And again, Lord willing, through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai, that you're edified. Again, the title of this lesson is Wandering Desires Will Cause You to Step Back. And this is definitely inspired by, I can't specifically say the YouTube channel because there's just so many channels that I'm watching of brothers in Great Millstone, but that brother, he quoted that, and I said, oh, I gotta make that a title. And the brother, right when I'm about to make it a title for a lesson, he said, oh, that could be good. That could be good for a lesson, for a title. And I ended up writing it. Wandering Desires Will Cause You to Backstep. So Lord willing, this is edifying as much as it was edifying for me. Okay, let's get into it. So one of the greatest spiritual dangers isn't always open wickedness. It's wandering desires. When the mind begins to roam away from discipline and truth, it slowly pulls a man back into the same sins Yahweh Shema Shai delivered him from. Many fall not because they stopped believing, but because they allowed their desires to wander. Okay? Again, many fall not because they stopped believing, but because they allow those desires to make them wander. Hey, this is why nobody knows the heart. Before I go to James, just because I said that, let's go to that in Jeremiah. This is how dangerous the mind is. Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? In the NLT, the human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is? Right? The human heart, the human mind is the most deceitful above all. Desperately wicked. Who can know it? You know, and you don't want to wander off of fleshful appetite. Yeah, that's what it is, a fleshful appetite. Desires begin in the mind. Before sin happens physically, it happens mentally. The same with how when Yahweh Shai was explaining to the Pharisees, you know, what goes in you don't defile you, but what comes out, because it comes from the heart. See, what comes from the heart really defiles you, because to do the sins that we would do, or even the plague of the mind, right? Most of your sins, it starts in the mind to make that action. Okay? So before sin happens physically, it happens mentally. So let's slide over to the book of James now. James chapter 1, verse 14 and 15, it says, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust as in desires, and enticed. Then when lust have conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. Because what does it lead to? When you willfully sin, is death, or the wages of sin is death, better yet. But that lust is a desire. Now you have righteous lust, right? Which is a desire. I desire, you know what? This woman attractive. I desire her. I'm about to go approach her. Let me go talk to her. That is not a sin. But more of a lust that is a sin is, lusting for a woman, and then come to find out she could be married, and then you still having that like, man, I'll treat her right. You gotta nip that in the butt. You thinking about you'll do it right, you'll do all of this. Now it's coming to a sinful desire. That woman is taken, she's married, you know, or it could be a woman is married when you talk to her, which we're in Babylon where brothers punchline is, oh, I could treat you better than he can. You know, that's a sinful lust. Okay. So notice the order: desire wanders, lust grows, sin follows, death comes after. Sin doesn't appear suddenly, it entertains first. You know, this why when people commit a sin, they have an enjoyment into it, right? When some of us was falling into porn, it's an enjoyment. It's the guy that's, man. I'm a wicked person of them all. Like, you have an enjoyment looking for the videos, and then when you're done, you're like, oh man, I'm just trash. I'm so trash. We'll never do it again, right? When we doing things that are off, it's entertaining. Just like when some people say when we're sneaking doing something, it put more of a thrill in you. Okay? So when your thoughts start revisiting old lifestyles, old women, old habits, old ambitions of the world, that's the beginning of backsliding. And I call backsliding the moonwalk. The Israelites were the first ones to do the moonwalk. Okay? Backsliding. And that's a habit with us. Okay? So wandering eyes lead to wandering steps. And again, no free will. Yahweh is searching your hearts. Jeremiah 17:10, the Lord searched the hearts. He tries the rein and give every man according to his ways. So if you are a murderer, what's given into your heart and your mind is murder. What is it? YNW, whatever that rapper name is. He got murder on his mind. You'll have murder on your mind. You'll have lust on your mind. You'll have lying on your mind. Whatever's in your heart, it will be feeded to your heart. Okay? This is Proverbs chapter 4, verse 25 to 27. It says, let thy eyes look right on, and let thy eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. Turn not to the right hand or to the left. Remove thy foot from evil, right? You want to abstain from all the appearances of evil. So the moment focus on leaving the path, steps follow shortly after. Okay? The moment you start to focus to leave this path, steps shortly start to follow after. When we look at the Israelites' history or historically, when they fell this way, looking at other nations, desiring their lifestyle, copying their ways, falling into sin, this is why discipline of the eyes and thoughts is a spiritual warfare. Right? I'm going to read this. This is Romans chapter 12, verse 2 in the NLT. Don't copy the behavior and the customs of this world, but let the Most High transfer you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know the Most High's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. So you got to think. The moment you have focus leaving this path, steps follow shortly after. If you're ever feeding that doubt demon, or you got your eyes wandering to different things, or some excitement that you probably turned away from, hey, it can be the trigger of looking at other nations. It can be a certain type of lifestyle. Hey, most of these lifestyles or these behaviors we see mostly is on either social media or movies, right? So guess what? That little urge might get into you to want to copy their ways, right? You Dwayne Wade, what Diddy was doing, right? You might see a Jake, how he making easy money. You like, hey, man, I could probably do that. And now you out there, you know, even as my self. I was in this truth, and I was thinking it was not harm to do videos, make people laugh, do certain skits and get money from it. But it was just all for me to get famous, popular, to get known. And the more I grew in the truth, when that one brother that followed Great Millstone, I don't think he's in the camp, but he followed Great Millstone, and he said, "Man, this is not this is not how a man of the Lord acts. You can't be following GMS." And I first, it hit me, and I try to hit him back with some wordplay, because he said something to me. I'm like, man, you follow GMS. We both ain't the men of the Lord, because we supposed to be listening to order. We shouldn't even be on social media. He got quiet, deleted it, and then I had to ended up go doing a video, because he was right. Because I was doing videos, like I was dancing, and I was making superheroes, truth superheroes. And when he said that, it really made me evaluate myself. It was more like a brother, through the spirit, a spirit hit him to say that. And it just put a light in my head where I don't entertain the thought of making videos or to make people smile or to make somebody, oh, look at that man. Oh, he dancing. Oh, Hebrew Israelites do have fun. I didn't want to push that narrative, and trying to have the mindset of looking outside in instead of being inside out. It wasn't looking right. And then the more I grew on Great Millstone, the men that the Lord allowed me to watch that's teaching his word in Great Millstone, I don't see them doing that. And majority of them are living a secret life when it comes to, they're not promoting their wives. So, hey, all the brothers, hey, look, here go my wife. They're real stern when it comes to this thing. And that was like, not like somebody at UBK, but it was more of a spiritual militant. Like, this is something serious. We ain't here to play. And it hit me different. And you got to understand, when you start mixing things of the world and the truth, is either you going to go back into the world, or, in the end, your true colors is going to show, right? You ain't really in this truth. Like, you got brothers wearing fringes and tassels, man, Kwame Asherella, and they'll say Yahuwah Yeshua. You know what I mean? Or Jah, or Jesus, So when you get in this truth, you got to really be tapped in. And you got to know when your mind wanders, when you go a little left. We have to be rebuking ourselves. How if I'm a teacher, how can I be rebuking everybody else and I'm not rebuking myself? And say, if you're not a teacher, hey, even if you're a parent, if you're correcting your children, you should be able to find, just like in the scriptures, you should be correcting yourself. Because what we just read in Romans 12:2 in the NLT says, don't copy the behavior and the customs of the world. Okay? But let the Most High transfer you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know the Most High's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. So we supposed to let Yahweh Shema Shai change our mind. So you supposed to be on your P's and Q's when it comes to yourself. Okay? So even when Israel looked at the other nations, desired their lifestyle, copied their behaviors, and fell into sin, Jake, you black, Latino, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you're doing the same thing today in this modern time. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. We're doing the same thing. Well, what did Eminem say? Instead of like what little Eminem said in 8 Mile, he said, you saying the same shit that he said. But on this side, we're doing the same thing that they did. We're doing the same thing that we did in our past life. The same thing. So Israel failed because of wandering desires. Numbers chapter 11 verse 4, in the midst multitude was among them, fell a lusting, and the children of Israel also slept again and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? In the NLT it says, then the foreign rabble who were traveling with the Israelites began to crave the good things of Egypt. And the people of Israel also began to complain, oh, for some meat. They explained, right? And that would be Jake. When all hell break loose, this is going to be Jake. So Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he delivered Israel from Egypt, yet their desires wandered back to what they were saved from. I believe if you go to, it's another one. This one hit me. I don't know if it's Psalms 106 verse 7. Maybe it's 106. Yes, this is Psalms 106 verse 7 NLT. It says, our ancestors in Egypt were not impressed by Yahweh's miraculous deeds. They soon forgot his many acts of kindness to them. Instead, they rebelled against him at the Red Sea. Right? So we not even impressed with what Yahweh Shem Yahushai is doing. But as soon as a heathen do something, they got something, they come up with then you got Jake over here falling a lusting. Yahweh Shem Yahushai delivered Israel from Egypt, yet our eyes desired to wander back to what we were saved from. So truly, in that time, they missed captivity because their flesh desired comfort. Deliverance means nothing if desire still longs for bondage. Just like if we know Yahweh Shai is coming, I don't want to find my way. Oh, Lord, give me another day. Lord, give me another week. I want to rebuke that. But in the spirit, yes, I want another day, another week to make sure I'm getting right. Make sure I'm examining myself. Because soon as shit hit the fan, Yahweh Shai come, it's over. The 2/3, the 2/3. The 1/3, the elect is the elect. Before Yahweh Shai come, the you gonna freaking know. Even if you not of this faith, you gonna be catching a different type of hell. And the better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. So this ending gonna be amazing. You're going to get it the worst. If you heard this truth, right? And you was walking amongst the Hebrew Israelites and you would take it serious, or those that never obeyed, you mother suckers is about to get it the worst. You know, because the 2/3 are wandering. So many backstep because the world still looks appealing. They not scared enough. You still can drive. Jake can still do roll up. It's people having some freak nicks. It's people still having parties. Hey, Jake, you could still go have a good time. You could still go out to eat. Old pleasure feel familiar. Patience become hard. You know? I heard, what's his name? Finesse 2 times where he was speaking about the Iran and the American. He's like, man, Iran ain't do nothing for me. Well, why should I care? He said, man, if when shit really get real, man, just stack up on some dry milk, powder milk, canned milk. That's how he said. And then he said, he was saying multiple things. He was saying something about if your boss, if something about your boss, like if you want to try to get a raise, try to manipulate and like your position or whatever. So try to find your manager outside of work and beat the living dirt off of him where he won't or she won't wake up, so that you can get their position and run it up while they in the hospital. So when they come out, you can just renege and say, what? Thou sayest. Can you record? Do you have a recording? Did I do this? Do you have proof that I did this to you? He was basically speaking carnal, but Jake and the world don't know what the hell is going on. That's why when it comes to this truth, it's very important to keep your mind single, your eyes single, straight on the task, which is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So when you come in this truth, you don't want to wander back into the world like, oh, let me go back to this. Or it could be a little thing that you might do, or recreational, something that's recreational that you go to that was in the world, and this might make you worldly. It might draw you back in. It might make you freaking lazy. It might make you have an anger problem. You know, when you come in this truth, you wanna master discipline. What is it? Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter. Verse 17, it says, I said at 16, it says, for she goes about seeking such as are worthy of her, shows herself favorably unto them in the ways, and meet them in every thought. For the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love. So the care of discipline is love, right? So the beginning of her is the desire of wisdom. And who's the her? Wisdom. If you want wisdom, the beginning of her is the desire of discipline. So the beginning of wisdom is the desire of discipline. And the care of discipline is love. Which, since this is the spirit of wisdom, you having that love attribute, right? The care of discipline is love. Love is an action. 1 John 3 and 18. Little children don't love in word and tongue, but love in deed, in truth. Your actions, truth, word, the Yahushai. Okay? Discipline is key in this thing. And if you can't master discipline, you can't master control, it's going to be easy for you to wander. Now, King David, he shows how desire leads to sin. Every righteous man must guard desire. Yes, a righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up. We're just going to read this account real quick. This is 2 Samuel chapter 11, in verse 1. It says, and it came to pass after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. And it came to pass in an eventide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. And the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child. And David sent Joab, saying, send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And when Uriah came unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the world prospered. And David said to Uriah, go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, camest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down unto thy house? And Uriah said unto David, the ark in Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into my house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife, as thou livest? and as thy soul liveth, I will not do a thing. Right? I'm just scanning the NLT just to see this wordplay. Because he was like, man, how can I go home to wine and dine and sleep with my wife? I swear that I would never do such a thing, right? Because he wanted to be under the king, you know. I'll read these last two. It says, and David said to Uriah, tarry here today also and tomorrow, and I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. And at even he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his Lord, but went not down to his house. And when you go further down from 14 to 27, it deals with David arranges for Uriah's death. And this is what, David had to repent for. I believe it's Psalms 51, where he had to repent and ask the Lord, don't take the spirit from me. He started thinking of what happened to Saul. So King David, he looked too long at Bathsheba, and this can tell you that she had to be cold, but who gives a fuck if she cold? When an Israelite woman, even the heathen woman, got a man, they fucking off limits. And I gotta say that loud because I failed to do that multiple times in the world, ignorant because of unbelief, but coming in his truth, that's another man's property. You don't want to enter into another man's property where he basically wrapped all in and ravished and smack, boom, boom. Everything that you think that you possibly did, that man did it. It's like, come on, man. No. The more I think about it, I understand even more how precious the daughter of Zion it should be, that she should be yours, like only yours. Nobody ever had her. So, to touch another man's woman, let alone tell Uriah to go to war, and you thinking in your mind, like, if I can get this man to die, then it'd be cool. That's even worse, But it said, desire Bathsheba, committed adultery, then murder followed. So one uncontrolled desire created multiple sins. So stepping rarely happens at all. It happens inch by inch. And sometimes that happens, because we still in the flesh. Sometimes your mind is elsewhere. You wouldn't even know that you're taking it, But those that make mistake, you notice you made a mistake, But those that's in the world, they don't know that they're stepping away from the Lord even more. You know how many people say they got a relationship with the Lord and can't really expound on what a relationship with the Lord is? They're blind from even knowing. Okay? So the flesh always wants to go backwards. Why? Let's get Galatians, the 5th chapter, verse 17. It says, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would do. Right? But it resists. The flesh resists the spirit, and the spirit resists the flesh. Your flesh constantly tries to pull you backwards. And that wandering thought is saying, it won't hurt this one time. Nobody will know. I used to enjoy this. That is the flesh tempting to reclaim control. When you go to Matthew, let's see. This is Matthew chapter 12, verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he came, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation, right? Even an individual, but the generation itself, right, is going to be as what? A spirit leaves, it's empty, and then when it comes back, it's going to come with 7 worser spirits than its first estate. In the nation of Israel, multiple captivities. This is the last one. Yeah, the nation of Israel, we were dealing with heavy demons, right? Especially us that left the world and came in this truth. You were dealing with a left-hand side spirit. You dealing with it on this side now too, but you was literally interacting because you didn't have discipline. You didn't have that strength. So we was already doing things of the flesh, you know? But the only way that it can consume you is because you're empty. But, you know, some of us is, you know, filled with Yahweh Shem Shai. Yeah, you get tempted, but you stay grounded where you can come to your senses. You can rebuke yourself, rebuke the mind that you might have. So Lot's wife, the danger of looking back. That's a great example. Genesis, the 19th chapter, verse 26. I was at 24. It says, then Yahweh rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahweh out of heaven, and he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the city, that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. She simply looked back, and that look showed where her desire still was. What that song just hit my mind. Baby, come back. You can blame it all on me. And that's what I thought. That's what I thought, you know. But you know, what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah? When you even go, I think, in the beginning of this chapter, when, you know, the angels came, when you read it in the NLT, it literally said that they wanted to have sex. They wanted to have sex with the angels so that they can know them. You know, and just imagine it was elders, it was men, and it was young men. So you gotta, and that's in the past. Over here, they're going even way beyond them. But they was really getting it in. And she looked back. Okay? She simply looked back. And that look showed where her desire still was. Just like Israel when, you know, we were removed from Egypt. You start pondering over the onions, the garlics, the delicious. You looking back. You know? Many spiritually freeze because their hearts never fully left that world. You know, you get stuck. What is it, starstruck, or like a deer caught by headlights? I don't know if any one of y'all know, but, you know, driving in Buffalo, especially if in the suburbs, you drive where it's dark at, and a deer, those lights be right in the middle of the street, that deer would just stay there. You know, so that's what she got stuck. And Babylon's going to get destroyed. We're all going to see this. But spiritually, you got to take from her looking back at the world. What did you leave behind? Fuck it. All of this is going to get destroyed, like Sam said. All of this is going to get destroyed. There's no point of looking back. If you want to look back, you might as well write on your forehead, destroy me. You know, there's no point. There's no point of looking back at the old you. Fuck the old you. You know? So how to stop wandering desires? Guard your mind. And this should be a constant thing. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. You know, if the Spirit is on you, it should be constant. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, which is righteous, and if there be any praise, think on these things. In the NLT, and now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true, honorable, right and pure, and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Because you got another thing. You have to know on the other spectrum that angels of Yahweh Shemal Shai is watching what we are doing. At all times, heaven and earth is recording you. So think on righteous things intentionally. Intentionally think. This is why us over in Great Millstone, especially with the apostles, it be multiple moments where they be have spiritual moments. Yarmayan, I could be with the fam watching a movie. You'll be watching TV. You seen some on your phone, something spiritual. I'm doing a lesson. The household could have had a whole conversation. I don't even know about it. And then I get done with my lesson and be like, yo, that's crazy. You was saying this in your lesson and we just went over, the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai is always in motion. When you go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 7th chapter, it says the spirit of wisdom is more moving than any motion. I'm in my car. When I move, this thing moves. I'm in front of a BMW. That thing look fast. Wisdom is more moving than any motion. Air, what is it? Electrons, energy, right? It's a moving motion. So stay occupied in the works. Idle minds entertain temptation. And I know we all weak. We do have that moment, especially when it comes to the cell phone. Scrolling. This is Sirach, chapter 23, verse 27. Send him to labor, that he be not idle, for idleness teacheth much evil. Idleness means the state of inactivity, laziness, or having no employment, often characterized by a reluctance to work or exert effort. It can range from passive, restful moments to a more negative, slothful, which is lazy state. And the Lord tells us not to be slothful in business. And is historically viewed as a sin or unproductive, though it can also represent a necessary pause for reflection. But especially with the point that is being made, idleness goes into being being lazy. Okay, it's somebody being lazy, slothful, basically in a slothful state. It's a negative term. You don't want to be in idle. Sloth, laziness. Yeah. See if we can get some more. A lack of motion or energy. And I don't want to have a lack of motion or energy for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, or to correct myself or to examine myself. How can I be, correct myself more than somebody else? If I'm not watching me, how the heck I'm going to correct myself? So I'm going to read that again. Sirach 33 verse 27. Send him to labor, that he be not idle, lazy, for idleness teacheth much evil. So it's evil to be idle, because idle minds entertain temptation, right? Because if you lazy and you slothful, this going back to really scrolling, because scrolling is not a sin, but you can become idle on scrolling when you got shit you're supposed to be doing. Especially, say if you got to read a chapter, 2 chapters, 3 chapters, you always revert back to the phone or scrolling. It's different if it's like a text, the brothers or somebody in the household or whatever and ever, but you just scrolling. I see a picture, I see ass, I see video games. You scrolling just on nonsense. It's leading you to be an idol, and then you're taken away from what you're supposed to be doing. You didn't get to read today. You didn't even get to pray. You didn't even get to really call on Yahweh Shem Al Shai, but you're on that damn phone. Idle minds entertain temptation. Okay, so remember what you were saved from. Okay, you want to always reminisce on that. Don't never romanticize your past captivity, right? Which was being in the world. We're still in captivity, but when you know the truth, which the truth is the word, it sets you free mentally and spiritually. We're free because of Hamashiach Yahushai. But wandering desires is dangerous, especially in the time we're in now, because it feels harmless at first. But spiritually, desire becomes imagination. Imagination becomes action. Action becomes sin. Sin becomes separation. And the elect must stay locked in mentally. And don't get me wrong, we're human. You're gonna slip. You're gonna have a moment where you're wandering. There's brothers that have probably been in this truth for 15 years, and they might wander because they are human, but they still in here. But we're speaking to the weak. But just in general, we should always check ourselves. Like Jeremiah said, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And it's just always just to master yourself, and this allows the spirit within you to know, I know when I'm wandering. It's just like when you did something off or you commit a sin. Me and you, we supposed to know, right? Before I go to this Luke, just because I keep saying that, we about to close out 2 Corinthians 13:5, and I'm gonna read it in NLT. It's in verse 5. It says, examine yourselves to see if your faith is genuine. Test yourselves. Surely you know that Yahushua HaMashiach is among you. If not, you have failed the test of genuine faith, right? You have to examine yourself to see if your faith is genuine. You have to test yourself, because this truth is something serious. Like I'm always trying to tell, like, this is not something you can fucking play with. This is not something that I can play with. I know I'm not the best servant. I'm not the best me. Certain things, how brothers, certain things that brothers do or how brothers move. I want that spirit too. The Lord made us all different, and He's using us in all mysterious ways. A lot of us came from terrible backgrounds, right? It can be not being loved, or you was really dangerous out in these streets, and now you're dangerous because you serve Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But you still, that those little thoughts or this is still there. Being in this truth, you don't have the thought of going back into the vomit, going back into sin, going back into wickedness. You are still you, but you are a new you because now Yahushai abides within you. And having Yahushai within us is we're able to examine ourselves because Yahushai was obedient. Yahushai turned the cheek. You got one that's going to betray you, one that's going to deny you. He ain't smack not one, then punch not one. He ain't do this and do that. He ain't even like make it public by name. Hey, this person did it, that person did it. It was laboring and chilling with these brothers and knew what they was all going to do. That man still stood his ground and kept his decorum. There was a true example of a stoic. Man, there's just so much I could say on that. But this is Luke chapter 9, verse 62. It says, and Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High. You would never be fit for the kingdom if you're looking back. Well, we don't need you. So stay forward-minded. Stay disciplined. Don't let temporary desires cause eternal glory. The only time I reverse is when I have to reverse. When I'm parking, right? Parallel parking. I'm getting to this spot. But forward, when I'm driving, my mind is forward, even though I gotta look at the peripheral, but it's forward. Every step forward. Yahweh Shai is on his way. However, man, whatever time the Lord sent him, but our direction has to be forward. He's the mark. He's the prize. Philippians chapter 3, verse 13 and 14. We don't look back on what we left. We're looking forward because the prize, and the prize is way more valuable. Way more. So, Lord willing, this edifying, man. Again, the title of this lesson is Wandering Desires Will Cause You to Backstep. Okay, all praise to Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, Bashem HaKadosh. Lord willing, this edifying through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. With that, shalom, shalom, abad, babal.